Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Go Go Loser Ranger Season 2, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we're picking up where the last episode left off, or at least we backtracked to where the last episode left off, and that's with Uskubo kind of being sucked into the illusion of this place. But they were able to snap her out of it for a little bit because it was still there where she's like, no, this is so confusing. But the moment Nishiki or whatever talked to her is when it really interacting with the illusion is what cemented it more in her mind, and she was going upon the next reset. It was already too late. So now that she's enjoying life and just living it up at school because she's been sucked into the illusion now, and so they're eating by themselves trying to figure out what do they do next. My biggest question was going forward, I was like, I wonder, is it going to have the same effect on D that it does them, considering he's a monster, he's a duster, and they're humans? And we find an answer to that later on, because the way Gato explains it is, it feeds off of your memories of going to school, which the only people that seem not to be affected so far is D and Chidori. So it begs the question, is Chidori human, or is he just not affected? I mean, it took a while for Hisui to be affected. To be fair, she has a very complicated relationship with school, because I guess her memories of school are so much further back than maybe Uskubo's, because it wasn't that many years ago that she was probably in high school, versus Hisui, we know, dropped out when she was 10 because she never had a child, because she went into being one of the Rangers afterwards. So maybe because of that distance in between, it made it harder. It took longer for this place to start affecting her in comparison to Uskubo. Maybe the longer you've been away from school, the longer it takes for it to kind of affect your mind. Maybe not. That was just my way of reading into it. Just why it took so long. Why Uskubo was the first one to fall and not a Chidori. And like I said, it makes sense with D because he's not human. So, but the complicated thing about this place too is it is starting to change and add rules. So at first it's wait, you're not, they were eating food at lunch on the rooftop, but then Chidori's nope, I read the rules. And he's wait, there's a new rule now. So after the reset, it's starting to add rules, which maybe they didn't necessarily do before. And we meet what at the time was believed to be the boss monster, and it is in fact someone. I mean, we could tell clearly from last episode, but it was one of the missing people from the Green Squad. His name is Wakaba, and obviously Hisui seeing him was kind of a shock. And then they got the reset because they broke the rules, so she goes off on her own to deal with the principal and tries to fight him. But Wakaba's my memories returned the moment I saw you. What I was would it really work like that? Because who knows? Because I was about to say, I was how long has it been? Hisui said they went missing 4 years ago. She's damn. So they've been trapped here, because it wasn't just him. It was Tokima, who's a senior member, and some other people. So it was at least 4 or 5 people that probably came. I think 5 people that came here, and Wakaba's the only one left. And I'm would really seeing her after being this deep in this illusion, would it really be just seeing her be enough to snap you out of it? Because Chidori is talking to D, and he's yeah, the boss monsters have a tendency to take on the human flesh of the people they kill. I figured the people they disguise themselves as, the one we saw with Blue in the past, the monster, that was pretending to be the guy he worked for or whatever, and killed a lot of people, and Blue, that monster was disguised as a human initially, and that was our first time really getting to see that. So, I mean, to be fair, it also makes sense, because, I mean, it's a different situation, but we saw Petrola, jump into X's body, so I guess it makes sense. But once again, her constitution being a duster is very different from that of a human. So I guess I was about to say, I'm curious, because my question last season was, is there any part of her in there, or is that just all Petrola now? But it's her being a duster, there might be some sense of self still there, versus a human, it's you get completely corroded. It could also be a thing of the longer Petrola is inside of her body, the more damage is taking, and the more of her that's being chipped away into her body can no longer sustain it and completely gives out. Who knows? we'll have to wait to kind of really potentially get answers on that clarification. But who knows how long? Like it seems like once they wear your suit, like a boss monster does to a regular human, you're dead. They've hollowed you out. So, but he's still trying to pretend like, oh, it's still me. And Chidori says like the problem with Hisui is like she's so kind-hearted, so she probably didn't go for the jugular immediately. Like she probably had a feeling like she was still willing to give him a shot, but it's like I don't trust you yet, and she still turned her back to him just to draw him out. But it's like she's like someone important taught me the whole point of like kind of basically not showing your back to someone you don't quite trust or whatever, because like trust is like you have to really prove it. And he proceeded to try and attack her, but she's like, I knew it. And she goes on the offensive. But the problem is he has a replica divine artifact. He took it off of this the senior member, Tokima, who was next in line to become the next Green Ranger. And obviously, Hisui pulls out her artifact and fights with him. Obviously, we got a taste of it last season of her just like biting and chewing. But also, I don't think we knew, and because even Wakiba was taken off guard by the fact that she can do it from a distance too. But his artifact allows him to like manifest the ground and kind of manipulate it. It's almost like earth bending to some extent. But yeah, it's a very powerful artifact, and it's like even Hisui kind of fell short to it in the past when Tokiwa used it against her. Yes, it's a strong artifact, but it just showcases how good Tokiwa was, and he's running his mouth off saying like, "Oh, Tokiwa only like was a senior member." Like none of that matters, but she only got that far because of this divine artifact replica, and that pissed Hisui off, and she attacked and got super close to killing him. I mean, she had a blade in his mouth, activated and everything, but before he could die, a student saw them, and that resets it, because we find out, I mean, it makes perfect sense, as Chidori points it out later on. Breaking rules, when the reset only happens when you break rules and people see you, versus like, well, if you're not breaking rules if no one catches you, so because D ended up kicking a soda machine, a whole bunch came out. He's like, oh my god, I know I broke a rule, but no reset happened. So they're like, okay, so that's how that works. They also have to deal with Hisui, who is losing it more and more. She's starting to be affected, because I guess like after that, maybe Magaida like pushed even more for her, or who knows like why it finally started affecting her, and then she like pushed away one of the other students. It counted as violence against a student and caused another reset, pushing her even further. She seems to be holding on the most out of anyone, like putting up more of a struggle than like Uskubo, because it seemed like she was already kind of like, it didn't take too long for her to fall, whereas like Hisui seems to be like keeping it, because it's so interesting. She didn't immediately go after the principal again, because even later on, D is like, man, I would have expected her to go charging in, but I guess it's like it took all her courage to kind of like push herself, like push it aside, like this is like doing what she did. She basically killed Wakaba to kind of free him in that regard, but like now that she kind of put all that effort into that, plus her mind being clouded like it is with all these nostalgic memories, I think I think for one, just seeing Wakaba again, but two, also like the fake memories from the school, and maybe it's also resurfacing some stuff from her own childhood, back when she was in school before she went to the Rangers, that it just kind of like all that's pulling her from like acting. Like I said, my initial thought was it's because she kind of put everything into trying to kill him, and she did, but it didn't go through, and the reset just made her kind of like, I don't know if I can put myself through going through that, trying to kill him again. So we also have Chidori. We only get introduced to it this episode, but we see kind of his specialty, like obviously being the information gatherer. So he's kind of got like this lizard looking thing. It kind of looks like it could be like a lizard. Or, I don't think it's an iguana. Maybe a gecko or lizard, and it's kind of part of his like spy tech of like, yeah, him gathering information that way. Hibiki gets called to the teacher's office, and he had this run-in with Hisui, but also Uskubo, and it's interesting, and I don't know like what that was, but like Uskubo's explained like, oh, she's having a fun time here with her friends, and I love that effect of like you see the glass in front of her and it shatters as like Uskubo's like thinking back to her time. She's like, oh yeah, I contacted my dad and let him know I became an official ranger and no longer just a cadet. And I don't know if that's just kind of like Hibiki like I don't know if that's a conversation he had with Uskubo previously, and he's kind of seeing that overlaid with all the stuff, or whether that's just because of his monster situation and not being completely controlled by this facsimile that he's able to see what Uskubo's really feeling like. I don't know. Like I said, that could have just been based on a conversation they had in a like in between episode 2 and episode 1 and 2, like maybe somewhere in between there is when they potentially had this conversation. But yeah, he goes and meets with Gato, and Goto's like, okay, can you fit in? Which he's like, no, I'm not going to fit into this stupid school. And it's like, oh, you want to cause a reset because he was ready to attack Gato, but Gato's like, no, because resetting this would be pointless, because if I resetting it would mean nothing if you're already going to fight it. Like if I believed you were someone that if we broke you down enough, you'd submit, then I'd do it. But it's kind of wasted on you. And so they go toe to toe until he ends up attacking D, and it reveals like, wait, you're a monster. That's why this isn't working on you. And every time he keeps attacking D, and D just keeps regenerating over and over and over again. And it's like, yeah, that's a benefit. You can wear down Gato's stamina until he basically, like clobbers you and buries you all under a whole bunch of stuff. But Gato explains that because he was like, Gato isn't under the influence like the others is, technically, because it turns out he got tired of fighting, because we find out he's a military guy, and it's just like death and destruction and fighting. Like this place is a peaceful place. It's a kind of a utopia. It's an escape from reality. And so people were able to escape here. And so it's like everyone's staying here of their own free will. This is what they want, and it's like, yeah, life is terrible and bloody, and just everyone's got situations that they're probably running from that they're able to escape into this place. Which once again begs the question, when the school is what it regularly is, what it really is, like why does the illusion ever falter? Like why would you ever take the illusion down? But I guess it's like you take the illusion down to draw people into the illusion. I guess that's how that's supposed to work, which makes you wonder, like that Nishiki dude, did he do that on purpose, drawing them into the trap? And he's like, well, you got to see it for yourself to experience it. Maybe he was also trying to like, hey, you're trying to escape from some stuff, this play, maybe even in that state of mind, being remembering everything, because when you're in the real world, you remember, like, I guess it's also meant to be like a stark reminder of this is what reality is. This is what's waiting for you if you ever try to leave this utopia. It's just kind of a stark reminder to keep people submissive and wanting to stay inside of the utopia to escape because there's nothing for you, type of thing. So maybe that's another angle to it, and maybe that's what Nishiki's like role was supposed to play, of like, right, draw people in, like whatever he's trying to run away from or escape from, because he was trying to be a hero and wanted to be one, but after what happened to Blue, it was just kind of like, what's the point of this? Like, just that fear made me want to retreat into just like a happier time, and that's where this all plays into it. So, but it's like, yeah, you're a monster, so I can't believe you'd side with the humans. Like, what reason would you have to side with the humans? And obviously for D, he's thinking about Uskubo, but he says like, right, I'm not going to choose the humans or the monsters. But he has, like, there are people he care about on the human side that he has reasons to fight for. But it's like, yeah, I'm only looking out for myself, but you care too, because you don't like Uskubo being trapped in this place, especially knowing like, right, like how important being a ranger was. Like, this place is an escape for a lot of people, but she is who she is. She's tried hard. She was there in the trenches with them, being a cadet, passing that test, doing everything they can, and getting to where we are, and her being so proud of herself and being able to tell her dad what she was able to accomplish. So, but the problem is that, D like unleashed, I forgot what that mode is called now, because they utilized it obviously a lot in the later parts of last season, but like you kind of it's not blaster mode, I forgot what it's called, when you like enhance the blade and he's swinging around and destroying the school. But Gato ended up splitting him in half and taking the sword from him. And I was like, oh boy, when it resets, you're not going to have your blade. But it's like, nope, it wasn't just that. The room starts resetting, but then the boss steps in. And based on the uniform he was wearing, it looked like the bald teacher we were seeing in the hallways. It looks like it's got to be him. Not less Makita is like bouncing from different bodies or something like that. But I think we saw a teacher while we were like overlooking the school wearing that exact kind of gym uniform. It could easily be like the gym teacher or whatever, but I don't know. either way, D tried to attack Magita and ended up getting booted. So it's like interesting. So they were threatening to kick him out of the illusion. It's like, right, we'll let you go, just stop interfering with this. And now he's outside. It's like, cool. They're not going to let you back in. So I guess you kind of have to leave it to Chidori's the only one that's fully himself right now. And also, Hisui is still struggling with the memories and stuff like that, being torn between herself and what the school is trying to make her be. We know that the Green Squadron went in there 4 years ago, but who knows how long Makita has made this place its home. I mean, once again, it was almost captured before, but managed to get away. My thought at the time was like, well, maybe it was working with someone from the Green Squad, but like the Green Squad only got connected to it when they went hunting for it, and then we are where we are with it now with Wakiba. So it begs the question, like, not that could just be it though. That could have been like Wakiba's body, but it was just Magita like revealing itself. But that could have just been. But once again, he wasn't wearing that anytime we saw him as a principal, so that's why I was kind of confused in that regard. So, like I said, my thought was like that bald gym teacher character, or it could have just been Wakiba just in a different outfit, or like I said, it could just be like he does switch bodies all the time. Begs the question though, what happened to the others? Considering like, well, he has Tokiwa's divine artifact, so replica divine artifact, so that means she's dead as well as the others. So did they keep putting up a fight and you had to put them down? Why is Wakiba the only one? I guess you needed one, so I guess Wakiba might have been like the earliest one you got, and you used him to kill the others to kind of like fully submit whatever control you had over Wakiba's body. Maybe that's how that worked. I don't know. But the whole time frame of it's been 4 years, I guess also answers like it is a time loop thing, but we still don't know how much time passes while you're in there. Like who knows how long it's been since episode 2 when they first came into this school and got stuck in the illusion. We don't know how long it's been since then. So how time works in that regard, even though it has been 4 years on the outside, but you can also start and stop the illusion whenever you want to. So. But we also end the episode with the kaiju from last episode showing up. The one Red refused to kind of not be worried about. As it goes around, it's killing people at a zoo and devouring animals. Red is up there, meeting with the sponsors, making a whole point of like, right, we'll protect you, ironically enough, while people are being murdered. Because the Red Squad is trying to get in contact with him, but he's unavailable. And I'm sure he'll blast them for this and be like, this is their fault. But because the whole thing is like, it's all a presentation and you want to put your best foot forward in the guise of, we're your heroes and we save you. But it's like, funny enough, when you were needed, you were busy putting on this performance. So he'll probably be pissed because it'll stain the Rangers' reputation, but he has no one's fault to blame but himself. He was literally told last episode about the kaiju and he just didn't listen about it because he's like, what I got to do is more important than that. So it's like he's very short-sighted, even though he'll probably think he's looking at things from the long sight purview, but it's like, no, you're very short-sighted, and because he enjoys the instant gratification and glorification that he gets. Like, he gets like super off on it, so, and he'll probably bash anyone and kill anyone, obviously, who threatens his position and kind of like tarnishes his reputation, even though he's tarnishing his own reputation. But once again, the guy is a sociopath, so it's going to be interesting to see where that kaiju situation plays out, like how that resolves. Is it going to be a different squad that steps in? That deals with it with some other. I mean, I could also see it be like a thing of Hibiki, the real Hibiki shows up and deals with it himself, because we don't know where he's gone post, investigating the school, because it doesn't seem like he found his way into the illusion like the Green Squad did. But like after he gathered whatever information he got last episode, where did he go? So. A lot of interesting developments, some questions to keep in mind as we go forward. I'm excited to see where the next episode takes us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.